Chapter 6508. Having said that, Charlie said again. By the way, with John's strength, his life would not be in danger even if his 2 hands were cut off. It seems that there is no need to go to the hospital for treatment. Moreover, he should not dare to go to the hospital so openly. Inspector Lee, what do you think is the reason? Duncan thought for a while and said, after the incident with the reshaping pill, John has been completely exposed. It seems that it makes no difference whether he hides or not if he goes to the hospital so openly. Speaking of this, Duncan added, and I guess he must be afraid that you will feed him another remodeling pill. Every time we encounter a murder case, especially a murder case with unknown motives and special means, what we worry about most is that there will be a second case before this case is solved. Because this kind of murder case is not like robbery, kidnapping or revenge killing. The targets of robbery and kidnapping are random, and the targets of revenge killing are mostly single. But the motives are unclear, and the means are special, which is often the easiest to become a serial murder case. If it were John, he must be most afraid that you would use the same method to punish him again. This time, both hands will grow out at the same time. Victoria might have to cut off his hands again in anger. With the experience and lessons learned from the first time, remodeling pill should be something he never wants to eat again in his life. Hiding in the hospital is equivalent to making his lack of hands public. At this time, you will definitely not feed him remodeling pill again. Charlie nodded and said, that makes sense, but this also proves that he has no value in the warrior's den. The warrior's den knows that he has been exposed, so they can't kill him, nor can they let him return to the Wright Army Governor's mansion. Sending him to the hospital is also a temporary resettlement plan. Duncan asked Charlie, Mr. Wade, do you think he is still of any use? Charlie said, it's hard to say. From the intelligence level, all he knows is the information about the Wright Army Governor's mansion. Now I have mastered the new trends of the Wright Army Governor's mansion, and he himself has been excluded. In the future, he may not know more about the warrior's den than me. Having said that, Charlie said, but emotionally, he should hate Victoria to the core. If I promise him that after Victoria dies, I will give him another reshaping pill to make him a normal person, then he should be more inclined between me and Victoria. That is to win for me, not Victoria. Duncan said, that's what I mean. John must know in his heart now that if he can become a normal person again in this life, I'm afraid only you can give him this opportunity. If you give him a promise, maybe he will turn against us. But if he has no value to the warrior's den, he has no value to us, so there is naturally no need to invest too much in him. Charlie said, whether he is valuable to us depends on whether he has the opportunity to return to the warrior's den in the future. Does Victoria want him to fend for himself in Morocco? Or does she want him to stay there first and let the people of the Wright Army Governor's office take him away when the time is right? Duncan smacked his lips and said, what if we communicate with him? Let him know that if he returns to the Wright Army Governor's office in the future and cooperates with you to provide more information, you will let him become normal again after Victoria dies. Charlie said, whether this person is valuable or not is still unknown. It is better not to have any direct contact with him for the time being. Duncan said, by the way, we can observe secretly and have someone arrange some vending machines in the hospital to observe the general situation of the hospital. It would be best if they can be installed directly in the inpatient department. Charlie said, it is normal to have vending machines in the hospital. And it is also normal to have vending machines in the inpatient department. However, the vending machines in the inpatient department are at most 1 or 2 in the public area. It is impossible to get them in the ward area. So it is impossible to take a picture of which ward John is in, and who enters and leaves his ward. Duncan nodded and said, this is indeed a bit difficult, but we now have a lot of facial information about the members of the warrior's den. As long as we install vending machines on the way to the inpatient department, once one of these people goes there, we can immediately receive the reminder. If these people visit him regularly, we can summarize the pattern. But if no one has been going, he is likely to have been completely abandoned. Charlie asked, what if someone comes from the Wright Army Governor's office? Duncan said again, we have basically judged a lot of people from the Right Army Governor's office through the monitoring of Naples Airport last time. These people are all first-level warnings in RE. No matter where they are captured by our vending machines, RE will report them as soon as possible. Speaking of this, Duncan said again, however, the faces collected that time may only be part of the Right Army Governor's office. I can also let RA always compare the faces of strangers collected at the airport and the dock with the faces that appear in the hospital, so that we can identify who came to Casablanca by plane or boat from other places and then went to that hospital. Generally speaking, few people go directly to the local hospital upon arriving at a place, and John is in the inpatient area. Even if someone feels unwell after getting off the plane and goes to the hospital for treatment, he will not appear here directly. Unless his purpose of coming to Casablanca is very pure, that is, to visit patients. So, if Ari finds out that someone just arrived in Casablanca and immediately went to the hospital where John is, such a person will be very suspicious. At this point, Duncan remembered something and said, "Didn't the Right Army Governor's office go to Spain? Then I will let Ari have another screening. If someone takes a plane or a ship from Spain to Casablanca, and then immediately goes to that hospital, then this person is probably from the Right Army Governor's office. By then, even if John has no value to us, at least he can provide some information about other people in the Right Army Governor's office. If the Right Army Governor's office really sends someone to see him, then maybe he is still valuable, and then we can find a way to convey some information to him." "Okay." Charlie nodded and said, "Then I will contact someone to quickly arrange the vending machine to the hospital." Having said that, Charlie added, "By the way, Inspector Lee, ask Ari to keep a close eye on Nigeria. It is meaningless for the three elders to stay in Nigeria now. They are likely to leave, and they will definitely not take a nearby plane. They will most likely change cities or even countries." Duncan said, "Don't worry. I have already given orders to RE to monitor the airports and docks in Nigeria and surrounding countries, focusing on all adult Asian men, especially older Asian men in groups of 3. Charlie nodded and said, "Also let RE pay attention to the people who appear in Buenos Aires, Argentina, or other airports in Argentina in the future. And compare them with the people found in Africa. If they match, mark them out. The headquarters of the Warriors' Den is most likely on an island in the Antarctic Circle. So no matter where these 3 people start from, they will most likely return to Argentina in the end." Duncan agreed immediately. "Okay, Mr. Wade." Charlie said, after having RE, "Our biggest gain is that we have more and more information about the members of the Warriors' Den. From now on, any movement of these people will not escape our monitoring. The map of the Warriors' Den will become clearer little by little in the future."